you are more than welcome back to Little Miss Dropstitch. And again, a bit of a change today. I'm going to be ranking Petite Knit patterns. So the company Petite Knit, read on their website, they came about in 2016, so not actually that old because a lot of knitting places are quite well established. You can get them kind of all on Ravelry and they've over 200 patterns. However, when I was on the Ernie and Carlos Norwegian knitting cruise, if I can think, and I'll put links to that down below. The shops in Norway, the wool shops, did actually have their patterns printed out. They were in Norwegian, but yeah, it looks like you can get them in some shops as well. I've read on their website, kind of the whole point of their patterns and ethos is kind of essential knits, so those wardrobe staples that well, then I interpret it as you can jazz up anywhere you like. So yeah, those kind of wardrobe basics. A lot of the colours are neutral colours, so that might be why as well, if they're saying they're the essential knits. So yeah, we'll go through them. I'm not paid for this, I wish I was. But no, so in the balance of fairness and interest, in my opinion, I've included some that I really like and then some that I'm not so keen on or I just kind of wouldn't get round to knitting. As always, do shout at me in the comments if you agree, disagree, or I've missed something out that's one of your favourite patterns. So without further ado, number 19, because what, I start on 20 when 19's as good a number as any. I have ranked the Annie Carlos patterns as well, so if I think on, I'll put that in the description as well as a little clicky card at the end. So number 19 is Anna's Summer Cardigan, £5.40, $6 78, €6 29, and it's 3.5mm needles, so US size 4. I'm not quite sure. I made this PowerPoint about 3 weeks ago, and I'm not quite sure why I put it as number 19. I don't dislike it at all. Um, so yeah, it's great that you've got children and adults pattern. For me, I just worry I'd look a bit old and frumpy in it, I think. 'Cause it does look kind of inspired by vintage pattern, particularly those from like the 1940s that have the lace eyelet holes in. I think this would look great in red or like a strawberry red for spring. 'Cause I don't know if you can tell, it's 17 degrees Celsius here, which is very hot for well, England anyway. But yeah, it's very hot here at 17 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I don't hate it or dislike it. It's just probably not something I'd either get round to. Actually, I have a concern about that neckline as well. I've done necklines like that in the past before, and they make me look old, and they just don't sit nicely when I seem to make them on me. So yeah, that's just my opinion on that. It's not that I completely dislike it. It's just there's other better patterns which we'll see and see if you agree. So 18 is this wonderfully named zipper neck. £5.40 again, and this is 4.5mm needles, so that converts as a US size 7. I do like this. I think it's a great design. And the idea kind of with this dicky is then you'd also put your coat on over, so it looks like you've got something underneath. So stylish and warm. I've just a couple of concerns with this. So pretty much all their patterns have a mohair running through, so they'll use a thinner yarn. So in this case, it's possibly a 4-ply or maybe a sport kind of DK weight with a mohair through it. Depending which you use will massively alter the composition as well. So if it's a bit flimsy because it's using two thinner yarns together, I have concerns about putting that zip in, that it wouldn't ripple. I don't know if you've ever tried to put like a zip in jersey fabric, which you don't need to do, and is a nightmare in sewing. But yeah, I just have concerns that it would ripple. It clearly doesn't in the picture, but as we know when we go and make things ourselves, is it, a lot more difficult? Yeah, it's a lot of constructing for something not necessarily necessary because you've got that ribbon around it, so you could just take it on and off. So yeah, it's more kind of a fashion piece. I do like it. I like making sure, especially when you're spending money on mohair and things, that you're going to get your money's out of it. And I don't know if I would with that zip there. Um, but yeah, it's good and that's a great adjective. It's good, but it looks like a bit of a challenge. It looks harder than I think it seems on the picture. I do like that bit of garter stitch on the saddle shoulder there as well. Yeah, let me know if you've made that actually, because I do like it. I don't dislike it. I just might disagree with the aesthetic and construction. Number 17 is this balloon jacket, £5.40 again, 7mm needles. So this is great if you like a project that grows, but I don't know if you can see on the screen, or we might have a bit of a problem there. I looked and 7mm doesn't translate in US size needles. So don't know what you'll do apart from come a cropper there. Yeah, I love it. Love the design and construction. My concern is 7mm needles, it's gonna be bulky. So yeah, great for growing quick, and I've done this in the past before when I was younger. You know, you think, oh, I'll do the biggest size needles, it'll grow quick, great, which is great for sense of achievement, but then I never wore it. Because it was too bulky to store for one thing, you're not getting that in your suitcase, and too bulky to wear as well, especially those balloon sleeves. So yeah, that's I wouldn't make it just based on that, even though I totally want to because it'd grow quick and I totally want to wear it. I think that could get a bit expensive with yarn. Again, they've probably put a mohair running through it. So this could be an Aran weight with a mohair. So it might not actually be too bulky. I might be eating my words. Um, but yeah, it is lovely, and we do love a drop shoulder on this channel, and it looks like garter stitch as well, which is again adding thickness, which may be great or not so great if it's too bulky as well. I do like it. Just again, not sure if I get my wear out of it, and it might be quite expensive to make as well. Number 16 is the Stockholm Slipover, 4.5mm US 7 needles. So with this one, I might come a cropper there. So 4.5mm is what we're calling it, worsted weight in the US. So in the UK, I'd have to use DK and it'd be kind of a bit thinner, or Aran and it potentially come out a bit bigger or too thick. But that's a me problem and a UK problem, not necessarily a you problem if you're not from here. Um, Again, with their style, what they've probably done is a 4 ply with a mohair. You could probably push it to a DK with a mohair as well. So in the US, it would be sport weight and a mohair running through it. I like this. You could totally experiment and do, let's say, a cream jump with a pink mohair just for that kind of little tickle of colour in there. And absolutely, this is totally meets their ethos of essential knits because this is a wardrobe staple that everyone needs. I'm not sure if they do this in other weights as well because I do try and kind of have a pattern collection of the wardrobe staples and then, you know, a tank top in um DK 4 ply Aran weights. So yeah, absolutely love this, and it's a round neck, Stockholm slipover. Nothing more to say about that. Oh yeah, slipover. So I call them tank tops. The I think popularly, they're called vests at the moment, slipovers, whatever waistcoats. Number 15 is the silly slipover. It sounds like silly slipover. 4mm needles, US size 6. So great for me. I can use my double knit yarn. In the US, you might be using your sport weight with a mohair, or you could use your worsted. I like this because it's a round neck tank top. I put a bit of interest in there. So, and this is all kind of the pearl effect is what gives the design. I like this because it's not cables. I do like doing cables and I always start them with the best one in the world, but then I just get fed up. So yeah, this might be one, but it might also involve quite a bit of counting to create that pattern. So it might be one for you, it might not, but it's nice. It's just giving us something a bit different. Number 14. Oh, this is cute. The Oslo hat, and this is the Christmas edition. Because it looks like Father Christmas, and this is cheaper. This is £3.61, $4 53, and or €4 21, and it's done on 3mm needles. So US size 2.5mm. No, US size just 2.5. Yeah, I love this. I don't have a child, so I've no idea what size that is or how old that child is. They look kind of under one, don't they? But yeah, I think that's really cute. It's what I like, especially with Scandi style. This is what they do so well. It's not garish. So in certainly in the UK, you'd end up getting, you know, the bright red with the white round it. But it's Father Christmas vibes, but subtle, and I love that little pom pom on the end. Always need an excuse to do a pom pom on this channel. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Again, you could run a mohair through it. Not sure how comfortable that would be for a baby. But you could totally use double knit or fine double knit yarn. in the UK. Yeah, I really like that. That makes me smile. I hope they do. I think they do an adults version. Yeah, it's something I don't think I've mentioned about the Petite Knit brand. They're a Danish company, but I know the patterns if you get them on Ravelry, they come in like the all the Scandi languages, Norwegian. I'm trying to learn Norwegian, so I've printed one off in Norwegian as well. Quickly put it away again, but and followed the English one. But yeah, English. I don't know about other kind of European languages because I've not looked. But yeah, I do know they come in Scandi languages as well. And they're popular in Scandinavia. So yeah, it's a Danish company. Yeah, that's really cute. Number 13, zipper sweater light, very catchy. But just what it says on the tin, so I shouldn't be moaning. And it also comes in an Aran weight, so I love it when they just do the same design. You'd have to buy it separately, but they come in, the different sizes. Because sometimes you see the yarn before the pattern. So 4 millimeter US size 6 needles. I like it, and I like that it's a chance to put a zip in. I think this pattern's more suited to a zip than the dicky thing we saw with the pretty useless just aesthetic zip in it. I like it. I'd just be bored to tears making it because you imagine it's for your kind of well, this bloke here, he looks like he, reads the newspaper, goes to the pub for a pint, and then, he's herding cattle and his sheep in the evening. So yeah, I do like it. It just would bore me to tears. And it's a raglan sleeve as well. Because you can imagine, it's not going to be done in like a pink. The type of block wearing this, it will be browns, greys, and blocks are bigger as well than I'm used to making patterns for myself. So I probably would just get slightly bored to tears making it. But a good pattern. And hats off to you if you have the stamina to make that. Number 12. Okay, I do really like this. We love an excuse on Little Miss Drop Stitch to use up our scraps. So I think this would totally be an occasion for it. And great for me in the UK, we can use our DK I said straps, DK scraps, because it's 4 millimeter needles, US size 6. This is the Eros jumper, £5.40. Looks like they put a bit of a mohair through, but you could totally make it cheaper just using kind of a solid DK. You looks like you also get the pattern for this fabulous jumper dress. I really like that, but I won't get round to making it. Looks like it's done the round as well, so that would actually be quite fun to knit. Would be very heavy. By the time you got to the end, and you could totally use your scraps, but then I'd worry about it looking too kind of. I've put sellotape around in a wool shop and see what sticks. If you kind of start to melange things. So yeah, I really like it. I'd worry as well after all that effort, and if you used proper wool, would it then start to bobble on your behind with sitting down? But yeah, I really like it as well. If imagine if you was out in that and it rained, like, would it just get really heavy and absorb it all? I don't know. But yeah, I really love it as a design. I just wouldn't get round to it. I like it with this one. There has been carrying consideration for the kind of weight and flow of the design in terms of kind of how heavy the fabric is with it being DK weight yarn. I like that. They've not just done it in bulky to make it up quick. It'll probably end up a bit holey as well if it was bulky. Number 11, Selma's slip suit. I love a garter stitch. I think it's great. I think it's practical, especially for baby. It just has that bit of thickness on it. And if you can see here, you don't have to do any ribbing on the cuffs and the hems because garter stitch doesn't stretch. Garter stitch is just knit every stitch. However, especially looking at the shoulders, I think this, some if not all of it, well, yeah, some of it is in the round. I could be wrong. Let me know if you've done this. Just we're looking at the raglan sleeve. I'm thinking, oh no, it can't be done in the virtual. It can't be done the round because there's a big opening at the front. Ignore me. It must just be very clever then. Because I was going to say, if you do it in the round, then garter stitch, you have to do knit a row, purl a row, which some people find tedious, but no, just so yeah, it is really adorable, and it looks practical as well for a child. So I really like this. And how cute is it, just in the neutrals and the beiges? Number 10 is the Stockholm Slipover. I feel like we've already had one called this for an adult. 3 millimeter needles, US 2.5. I really like this because, again, don't have a child, but apparently it's practical having the opening on a curve going from like the leg to the opposite shoulder. I really like that. Wouldn't want to sew them buttons on. But yeah, I like that it's practical as always. And it's a really nice design feature that I don't know. That does not look full sleeve to me. Could be wrong. Um, yeah, it looks kind of half or three quarter, but I don't really know how long child arms are. So yeah, 3 mil needles, so it's nice. It would take you a bit of time, but then not too much because it is only for a wee one. Oh, wee one. I work with too many Scottish people. Um, yeah, I really like it. I totally like to do this in a cotton as well. That would be really nice for a baby, especially if they're not full length sleeves. I'm not sure, but that would be really nice for summer for a baby to keep them cool. Number 9 is this French market bag at £5.40. So the usual price, 4 mil needles, US size 6. I really like this because it's something a bit different to all the others we've seen before. Actually, it doesn't look like you get straps. Looks like you have to kind of put them on yourselves out of leather, whatever. Ooh, that rhymes. And I just like it's an opportunity to use that yarn that I always see but never know how to use it. You know, like the duty raffia stuff that you see coming out. You could totally I'd love this in like a navy and then ecru stripes. That would look, given it's called French market bag as well, that would look cool. Also, an opportunity, you could totally line it as well. It's nice to see a bag like this because you get a lot of them in crochet, but not everyone crochets or wants to. It's nice to see something that will be practical and not, stretch, such as this. Would I ever make it? Probably not because I don't go on sunny holidays. And yeah, it's sunny today, but I'll be going as far as the back garden, and to the fridge. So I wouldn't get round to making it, but I do really like it. It's just a bit different with the design, the yarn potentially you can use. Number 8, Albert's pilot hat. What I loved about this, oh, it's cheap as well at £3.61, $4 53, €4 21. We may as well also say 4 millimeter needles, US size 6. And what I really like about this is it's that traditional kind of vintage and Scandinavian style, but made modern. So in this beautiful brown colour, neutral shade, and an excuse for a pom pom. See, I've seen these on kind of, old pictures of relatives and whatnot, and archive photos in Britain in the past, in the wartime as well. They look really old fashioned when you see the pictures with, the A flap hats. I know the traditional for Scandinavian style because of the practicality of keeping the layers warm. So yeah, I like this. It looks clean, sleek, modern, and also from a practical point of view, we've got garter stitch. On the brim, so it's not going to curl up, and on the ears, it's a little bit thicker. So yeah, that's clever actually. I really like that, and I wish I'd invented it. I suppose that's like reinventing the wheel a bit, but I like it. It's modern. Number 7, balloon cardigan. So yeah, how I was kind of moaning about the other one being too bulky before, this is another opportunity. So it's 4 mil needles, so DK weight yarn for me in the UK, US size 6 needles. Excuse me. So yeah, I like that it's an opportunity to have that balloon sleeve design. I bet when you're doing those sleeves, it feels like they're going on forever and ever, with them being wider. And it looks like it's got a bit of a crop length as well. So yeah, I really like this actually. Not too many buttons to sew either. A V-neck, so nice and on trend as well. You could totally not put buttonholes in and leave that off as well. Actually, I'd be tempted to do that. You could also use kind of like a 4-ply fingering weight yarn with a mohair through it as well. I read on the website the Petite Knit patterns. They said, oh, they are, designed usually with the mohair, but it's also an opportunity to kind of change the composition of the garment as well, just by using different yarns. So yeah, totally like that. Number 6 is the Moby jumper, slightly more expensive for some reason. £6, $7 53, €6 99, 4 mil needles for DK weight or sport weight, US 6 needles. I like this. It looks reminds me of, like the traditional kind of British Aran jumpers that are done in thicker yarn. So yeah, I like this. It would be nice to pack in your suitcase because it's a DK weight, and yeah, everything's going up. So I suppose I think this is a bit harder than another one I'm going to show you in a minute, because you've got to be doing lots of bits of the pattern at once, with it being vertical. So just bear that in mind. There'll be a lot of chopping and changing. You've got real cables in there, and the central panel is mock cables, 4 cables as well. Some I can never say this, Irish moss stitch, some Irish moss stitch on the sides, yeah, and a drop sleeve as well. So I like this. Just might be a bit of a challenge concentrating, so just be mindful of that. Number 5, my lounge sweater. I think I've probably been taken by this just because it looks like a good opportunity to use up scraps. Um, or if you like, hopefully old me, you'd end up buying new anyway to make it look scrappy. But yeah, 4 mil needles, so you could probably use 2 4 plies, you could probably get away with that, and you get a bit of a thicker texture as well, so that would make it warm. This looks like a child size. I'm not sure if they do it in adults, but I would totally wear it. Um, I think instead of like a stark cream, an ecru would be nice, or a natural, like with a pink. I'd totally rock that. Yeah, I really like that. I wish I could say more exciting adjectives about it, but I can't. I just really like it. It's just good to feel like you're doing a kind of using up your scraps sometimes. Yeah, you could totally kind of go crazy and stripe it and not just do 2 colours as well. So yeah, lots of potential for that. Number 4 is the Ingrid jumper, and this ranks high up, probably because I'm biased and I've made it. Okay, it was one of those. If I'd have not, if kind of by the time I got to the end, I remember thinking if I'd known this at the start, I wouldn't have bothered making it. But I'm so glad I did because it looks beautiful. And the only reason I'm saying if I'd have known at the start, the constructions if I'm being honest, yeah, a bit complex. Luckily they had videos on their website, so that's good. So I was able to complete it. It's done in the round and flat. So if you do things in the round, so you've only got 2 ends to weave in or whatever, don't do this jumper because there's a lot of you get to like one end and then they're like, no, cut the yarn, and you do that quite a few times. There's quite a few ends to sew in. But yeah, compared to that other jumper we showed, this is done in stripes, so it's just like doing a nice little sampler actually. And that mock cable as well. I enjoyed doing the mock cable, but that bit on it was enough for me. There's a lot of positive ease in it, so it can take a while to do. But honestly, I thought it grew quickly because you're doing those little blocks of kind of sampler stitches. And then when you get to the sleeve after doing the main bit, you're like, oh, this is so quick now. There's not as many stitches. Yeah, I love it. It's a nice sloppy joe. So I used Hillsborg Tinde wool. So that's Norwegian wool. How it came about, I'd been travelling since 2 in the morning. I got some wool for a knitting pattern, got back to my hotel, realised it was completely the wrong weight. Um, so I needed something to make, and I saw this on my last day as a sample, knitted up in Norwegian Spirit, the wool shop in Bergen train station. Yeah, so I've done mine in like a pink kind of marl, the slight black running through it. It's really pretty, and this would totally go on holiday with me because it's kind of a fine DK way I've done it in, and it packs away really well. And this is how I know what they mean when they say, "Oh, it's interesting if people can change the composition just by the yarn," because this uses a mohair with it in the example. Mine, I just used a DK, albeit probably a bit on the finer side. And yeah, it's beautiful. It doesn't look kind of holey or anything like that. Totally block this because of like those eyelets as well for them to be noticeable and sit nice. So if you don't like blocking, don't do this jumper. Honestly, it took like a week to dry. It used a full sink. It just sucked all the kind of water in the sink up. Um, and yeah, it just absorbed it. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing it, but I wouldn't do it again. I'd probably do it again in about 10 years. Because the overall effect is beautiful. And like I say, it did pass quickly. And enjoyed doing just we'll get to the next bit. Whereas the other one, with it being vertical, might be kind of too much on the brain. Yeah, I really like that. Number 3 is the Marie pillow, £3.61, so a bit of a cheaper one, $4 53, €4 21, 3 millimeter, 2.5 US needles. So why I've ranked this high, well, because I like it. It's one of those. It looks simple to do. I bet that's a slip stitch, so you're only doing one colour on a row at a time. So it's probably simple to do, but looks more complicated than it is. And I was just taken by so the photo in the sample. You could use your scraps. We love that. And it gives kind of those summer deck chair vibes for me. Um, yeah, summer kind of seaside traditional British deck chair. But then also the sample we've got in the bottom left corner. That uses neutrals, and oh, I really like that. Like I totally do that with a cream and a brown. That would look really nice. and just go with anything then. So yeah, I just like I'm a sucker for like a simple homework cushion design, simple but effective. So yeah, and just an opportunity to use scraps with it. So yeah, you could totally use your 4 plies for this actually. Oh, so yeah, leftover sock yarn project. And it'd be nice, some people do like the little mitered corner. They do a square of each sock yarn that's left to make a blanket as a memory thing. This is the project. If you've not got as much sock yarn left or don't want to make a massive blanket. Number 2, the November jacket. So again, we've got a bit of a drop shoulder and a balloon sleeve going on. I just like there's more going on with this. So 3.5mm needles, those pockets, and I don't think they'll be sewn. I think they'll be integrated in it. So you kind of trying a couple of new techniques you might not do often or you might not have done before. We've also got I've got a border. I don't think that's picked up. I think that's knitted as part of it. So if you don't like picking up, I mean, don't quote me, I don't know. But yeah, if you look at the bottom, it doesn't look like there's a seam. Could be wrong. Um, and it's got the rib pattern down it. So there's one of them. It might feel like it's slow to grow 'cause a lot of chopping and changing with your, as it's about it looks about 4, so let's say knit 4, purl 4. But the overall effect is beautiful, and it just because it's got that kind of stretch and weight to it that rib provides. I really like that. Yeah, can't praise that enough. I'd probably make it. I just probably won't get round to it because I have quite a few projects. But yeah, let's pretend 20 years that I've done all used all the wool I've got in. Then yeah, I might look at getting round to it. I'd probably, to be honest, just do it in one yarn rather than adding a mohair in for the cost. I bet that eats up wool with it being oversized. Number 1. So this is what I've rated as my absolute favourite pattern from Petite Knit. I haven't made it, but I would totally get round to it. It's the Moby Neck 4mm needles, US size 6. What I like about this is, so it's a dicky. I like the construction, so how it goes in there. I think that's very practical because sometimes when you're wearing, just the round or the square neck ones, then you put your coat on and things get a bit kind of um rumpled, crumpled, and there's too much thickness then. So I don't know if this is why they designed it like that, but yeah, I think that's really clever and neat. Again, it's a bit like if you like that the jumper, it's the pattern's going vertical, but it's not so big that it would, all oh, I can't get my words out. It's not so big that kind of things would start to go wrong, basically. It's just a small sample. So again, you've got your cable, your 4 cable, your Irish moss stitch, oh, and that gorgeous neck. You could run a mohair through it like they've done. I'm not fine with wool, but I think, oh, would that tickle me with more hair in? But and I like that it's a small enough project that you could afford probably to do more hair through it. So yeah, I really like that. You could use some really nice yarns, nice dyed 4 ply sock yarns, whatever, um, or use a cheaper 4 ply wool, with a mohair. Yeah, I wish I could say more about that. I really like it. And this is one I probably would stick to doing a neutral actually. Probably I'm in the neutral brown phase of my life. We're past the greys. So yeah, I really like that. And yeah, I just can't get over that nice practical kind of swooped in edge there. So then your big coat would comfortably fit over it. And again, if you did have your coat on, it would look like you've got just a nice fancy jumper on underneath. And you're not getting too hot either. So, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever. I'm interested to know who your favourite designers are, whether they're independent or mainstream, and maybe we can do a video on that with your suggestions. So I would really appreciate it if you could give us a like, subscribe, or a comment because they're all free to do and it would really help the Little Miss Drop Stitch channel. Thank you and take good care. And I think now I will do some crochet in the garden. So take care.